hot minute since we've done a podcast. As always, I'm joined by Father Christmas, Santa Claus himself, Uncle Mosh, Big Salty. What's up, Salty?
What's happening, man?
Man, it's been a lot has happened since we did this last. We kind of took the summer off.
We took the summer off. We had to. We were busy.
There was gambling. There was karate. There was comic books. I mean, not all in the same time.
And it was hot.
It was hot. And we went 6 weeks with that rain.
Who knew?
And then we went 6 more weeks with rain.
Exactly. Who knew that Middle Tennessee was a quarter mile from the sun?
I didn't mow my yard for 6 weeks. And then I didn't mow it again for 6 weeks because it was raining, and I had to go hire a bush hog just to get the little patch of grass in my backyard cut down because it was so tall. I was losing dogs in the backyard.
You should have raked all that up and sold it.
Man, I could have just parked on the corner out there with a bale of alfalfa grass and called it a day, right?
I think it'd work.
Anything to turn $1. That's where we're at.
I'm going to do that with firewood this year.
Yeah,
I did.
You got some.
You've been out to my house. So I had a lot.
You're just gonna set it out there and say, drop $5.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I had a lot of ash trees that got that bug. I don't know if you knew this or not. Being from Kentucky, you've probably been to the Louisville Slugger plant.
Yeah.
And which is a cool tour. If anybody ever gets to Louisville, that's a great.
Never
tour.
done the tour. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's a really neat place. Most of those Major League Baseball bats are made out of ash. Well, there is a beetle. I think it's called the ash boring beetle. One of our listeners will look it up.
Tens and tens.
And the tens and tens of listeners will let me know what it is. But it's killing, and they say in like minimal amount, like 15 to 20 years, all the ash trees in the United States will either be infected or dead. I've had about 15 around my house. You would know it since the last time you've been there. And we're talking massive, huge trees. So my buddy helped me cut them down. He's a professional. A shout out to Stump Eater. Anybody listening needs trees cut in Middle Tennessee, give him a shout. Call Ethan. But he helped me come and cut these down, and I'm telling you, there was so much lumber, and they all fell everywhere. So I told him, I said, well, it's wintertime. I'm not going to go to the gym now that I'm retired. I'm not going to do that anymore. I'll just cut lumber. And so I cut it, and I've got big hunks, and then I have to split it still, but it just got too hot.
Why don't you sell them to Louisville Slugger?
Well, because I don't know if they would buy them or not, since they're dead. I don't know if they harvest.
Sure.
Because it's really easy to split this wood now that it's all down and everything. But so I'm gonna sell it. So I got a buddy that's got a splitter, and he's got some wood down. So I'm gonna help him split his. He's gonna help me split mine. He burns with his, but I'm gonna go and put it on the corner.
A couple of ricks down there.
Put him down and undersell everybody.
Yeah. Drive down the road, see what this guy's selling it for,
and
underbid him.
Underbid him by $20.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Get rid of it.
Or just have one.
We're coming into the season. Fireplace season's coming up.
Fire
pit season.
I got to get it done before my other winter gig starts.
Mm-hmm.
And
which I'm trying to get on the calendar.
Which you're trying to get on the calendar.
I need to
do that.
Yeah, I got to be a little more professional about that.
Professional. I don't know if we can.
We can talk. Let's plug it.
We can zoom in on that.
I made the joke that Salty looks like Santa Claus, but that is for good reason.
There's a much deeper reason that I grew my hair and my beard out, not just because I retired from the classroom, but because I don't know if you can see that or not. He can't control the zoom on that, but we'll do it afterwards. But that's my business card, and it says Santa Claus, just believe, and it's a picture of me in my Santa Claus suit, and it's on the back of it says for bookings and quotes, contact, and it's got my contact info. These cards are available at Cadet Comics and More.
Cadets Toys and Comics.
Cadets Toys and Comics and More.
No, it is. There should be an and more now because we're really into the card gaming. It really should be Cadets Toys, Comics, and Cards because we are, I'd say half of our revenue comes from trading card games.
So it should be Cadets, Comics, Cards, Toys, and More.
Cadets should just be Cadets, Comics, Cards, and Collectibles.
How about just collect?
Then we could be the 4 C's.
Oh, then people would get mixed up with the Four Seasons.
That's true.
But anyway,
If that's the case, we're going to have a lot of people pulling up looking for the valet stand. I mean, where do I drop this car off?
yeah.
Wherever the hell you want to, man. What are you talking about?
Throw me the keys. I'll go park it for you.
Yeah.
So anyway, you can get my card and contact information from here, and there'll be a little link.
We'll throw that description
below.
in. We'll throw that in there.
And so that's what I'm doing. So it all started last year. When I got out of teaching, I went to work for the Murfreesboro Parks and Rec as their director of their children's theater program. And I stayed there for 2 years, and then I just, I got to the point where I said, I did my 2 years, I fulfilled my obligations, and I just want to be retired and just do what I want to do. And I cook and I eat and I chop wood and I go to casinos and if I sleep late, I sleep late. If I stay up late, I stay up late. I'm really digging being retired, and
I love it.
hang out with you in the summertime a lot, and and just do what I do, and
now you're podcasting again,
and I'm podcasting again, and hunt and fish, and and just loving life. So I'm still involved with the Parks and Rec. I go in and do I'm teaching a 6-week acting class, zeroing in on audition techniques for kids.
Yeah.
That's
at Parks and Rec?
It's Parks and Rec, yeah. It's in Murfreesboro on Tuesdays.
Rutherford County.
Rutherford County, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So, because I'm still friends with those people and everything, that last Christmas, I was the judge of the Christmas parade. It's a massive, it's like a 4-hour parade in Murfreesboro. People don't realize it, but it's one of the biggest parades in Middle Tennessee. And it ends every year with Santa Claus on this huge, really awesome sleigh that is pulled. And when I worked for them, I was always the guy that was driving Santa, and then we had this wonderful Santa, and he's retired. So they said to me, hey, you're an actor, and they knew that I still did Santa.
So you're going to be Santa in the parade.
I'm going to be Santa in the parade. So
it.
they came to me and they said, would you be willing, to next year? And I said, yeah, but I won't do a fake beard and fake hair. And I said, I'll go see the guy that cuts my hair, and if he thinks I can grow my hair and grow my beard in a year, then I'll do it.
And how old are you?
I'm 65.
65. I've got the most full. Look at this lock of hair. Look
Yeah,
at this hair.
I got it's gotten thin.
Sure, but it's still rocking it.
It's still a great mop. So I went, and I've never grown a beard this long. And he says, well, summer's going to be hot, and I'm like, okay, all right, I'll do it. So I said I'm going to do it, and right away, I mean, it grew out right away, and so I started, getting lots of. I'll go to a casino and people go ho ho ho, and I'm like, you talking to me or that girl? So I went and took the picture, and a really famous artist in town in Murfreesboro named Norris Hall. He did the license plates. You've seen them, the artist license plate with the fish on them.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, Norris is a friend.
Okay.
And he did the cards for me.
Nice.
And so I'm just kind of word of mouth advertising. So I've got that gig, and I got a gig with the photographer doing some family photos and stuff. So as people need me,
Yeah, we do a Santa here at the shop every year, and we've hired the Nashville Santa. I think is what his name is, the Nashville Santa. Last year we couldn't get him because we, screwed around, and we just had our buddy dress up as Santa. But we try to have a day where kids can come in the shop and say hi to Santa and do a. We have a little every year. We have a the Santa Claus, the North Pole post box. Like we have a box. Like
fun.
We leave it outside. For years we made one. It was kind of like we just made it. But then last year I found one. It's like one of those old school blue.
The old mailboxes.
Like we have one down here at the parking lot where you just drop your mail in. So we found one that was red. It said North Pole Mail on it.
Love it.
So we leave it outside so that the kids can drop their letters to Santa off. I don't know if they just email these days, but traditionally, if you still want to write a letter to Santa, you can drop one off in front of the comic shop.
Cool.
And then on a certain day, we come in and you can meet Santa. That's what we want.
I like the words that you said when you started telling that story. You said hired.
Under the table.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. Hired. Yeah, hired. I like hired.
I like hired.
We don't mind hiring.
No.
We try to stimulate the economy as best we can.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's usually mostly out. You know, rarely in. Support small business. But yeah, we're getting into that season, man. It's like school's already started back here in Middle Tennessee.
Football season's coming
Football
up.
season's coming. We're going to be college football, Tennessee Titans.
I think they had a preseason game against the 49ers this past weekend.
How'd they do?
I don't know.
I didn't watch it.
Mm-mm.
But they got a whole new team.
Yeah.
Whole new coach, new team, general manager, everything.
It's going to be exciting.
It's going to be exciting.
Football's
Like the Kentucky Wildcats, when they come around for basketball season this year, we're going to see what they're going to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, interesting. See what happens with the presidential election. There's a lot of unknowns at this point in the game.
It really is.
But we can be excited. We're going to watch some Mayfield high school football.
Nice. Mayfield strong, man. Hey, so for our listeners, tell us just a brief synopsis of the tragedy that happened up there and how they're doing on their rebuild.
Well, so what was that?
And what's your connection?
21?
It was only about 3 years ago, I believe.
It's been about 3 years.
Yeah.
Oh man. Yeah.
Has it been that long?
Yeah, it's been a hot minute. 2021 December, tornado came through my hometown where I grew up, along with my business partner at the comic shop, Joe. We grew up there. Tornado came through in December 2021 and leveled the town like it is nothing. Took out everything, like almost like a whole mile-wide stretch, like diagonally through the downtown. Cleared out the downtown, the courthouse, everything. Been there since the Civil War.
I remember you telling me that areas where you used to ride your bike are just gone unrecognizable.
And there was a lot of the court square that had fallen into disrepair. And where we, at one time as kids, we had this gorgeous court square, 4 sides, courthouse in the middle, banks, little farmers. It was great. It was a great place to grow up. Over time, this side went, and then this side went, and then that side went, and it was like just one side at this point. So it wasn't really much to left, but there was still stuff. But anyway, when it took it all out, just was nothing left, and it's been like that. And you're talking about a place that is impoverished anyway. There's the industry for ever there was tobacco, and that that went out in the late 90s, or actually started going out sooner than that. Farming, and then the whole subsidy things back in the day where they were paying farmers not to farm and stuff like that.
Set aside land.
Set aside land. And then just generationally, people just didn't want to farm anymore. So agriculture was a huge income driver for that area. The big factory there had left a while ago. I can't remember exactly when, but General Tire was a major employer, and it's gone. So there was really nothing to stimulate it back up. I went up there. God, it's been a year since I've been there, though. But the last time I was there, not much had been done. They cleared it all out. The street lights are working. They're trying to. Some places had rebuilt, some places had not. They just unveiled plans for a new downtown. My fear is it's going to look a lot like these 10-minute cities or 20-minute cities.
I hate them.
Where it's like trendy looking, but they've already unveiled the plans for the new courthouse. It doesn't look as charming as the old one, but it's new, and it probably needed to be new. And then I'm just assuming they're going to build the square around it to fit that look. So they're in the process. They're still, it's a long process. I mean, it's been over a decade since Joplin, Missouri had the same problem. Still recovering.
Right.
So, and you barely missed one the other day, not too long ago.
Yeah.
Tornadoes. So tornadoes can be tough. But yeah, that's kind of where I came from, Mayfield. But Mayfield High School football won a state championship last year.
Isn't that crazy?
They got a long legacy, man. Long legacy. Small single-A school.
Yeah.
But it's huge,
It's the only game in town.
It is. And we usually try to make a trip up once a year just to go watch them play. And then we try to put the games on the local or the high school network thing that they broadcast them through. So we're going to watch some of those. We try to do it on Friday.
Oh, that'll be fun. You got them on the tube?
Yeah, we put them on the tube.
And
it's there's like an internet-based broadcast service for high school football.
Okay.
And you can pick games from especially in Kentucky, you can pick whatever team you want to watch. That's just how they do it. If they broadcast,
Sure.
And Mayfield does, so we watch the Mayfield games. Yeah,
That's neat.
yeah, it's kind of fun. Something
Yeah.
to watch on Friday nights. I mean, I don't really support any teams around here because I don't have kids in the schools, and I didn't go to school around here. So, I mean, we try to
Yeah.
as much as we can. They ask us for money all the time. The schools do. Like, hey, would you like to sponsor the softball team? We're like, again? Or the PTA at elementary school X is like needing some cash, $200 to put your logo on a T-shirt.
Yeah.
Okay, $200 is a lot. Honestly, I would support every school if I could. We just got to make sure we have the
Yeah.
budget for it.
There's just a lot of them. And you know, there's something.
And it's smart business. $200 for logo on the back of a shirt that kids are going to run around with. They're going to start. We still have people come in the shop going, "I had a girl yesterday come in here. You been here what, a year?" I was like, "We've been here almost 4." She goes, "Really? I just didn't know. I just started working on this area, and I just realized this was here. I'm gonna come in here a lot more." I was like, "Okay."
Yeah.
It's just like we still get that conversation, even though we got the big sign on the roof now.
But you know, the biggies, Nashville Great Escape and some of these others, they've been around for decades.
Yeah.
Some of those
Yeah.
some of those places have,
Well,
I couldn't tell you where they
we
are.
decided it was best to start a small retail comic business in the middle of a global pandemic, followed by a drastically, probably the highest inflation economy I've ever experienced, soon to be probably one of the biggest recessions.
Yeah. Well, that's a good time to start a small business.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So I think if we can endure these things,
Right.
as long as we don't go into Civil War or World War III.
Yeah. So speaking of high school
But,
sports.
I mean, world comic books started in the golden age during World War II.
Absolutely. There was Superman fighting
Or Captain America fighting
Captain
Hitler.
America. That's what it was.
Superman fought the mob.
Yeah. Well,
So did Batman. They fought because those were the bad guys back then. The
Those were the bad
gangsters, the Nazis.
now they got their own comic books.
Now the villains are the heroes. Go figure.
Yeah, they're just it's the trend like wrestling, in the 90s.
But that was much more.
It was a lot more fun.
It was more fun.
My wife calls it my manly soap opera.
You still watch it?
I tune in now and again. Yeah.
I still think it's the same.
It's not the same.
Because they were, I guess, once they lost kayfabe and like those larger than life characters, it just became more real, and it just became about shock factor. It's like they lost the storytelling. I just remember part of it's just that as you get older, you see the strings and you realize that
Sure.
it's all orchestrated and choreographed, but at the same time, it's still fun to watch. It was always fun to watch.
They're still athletes.
I remember, I just remember as a kid watching like Saturday night's main event on Saturday. Like, this was way before
Sure, back when it was WWF. Yeah.
Well, WWF, and they pretty much dominated the airways except for TBS because that was Turner and WCW and NWA, that kind of thing. But we watched Saturdays. It was Championship Wrestling Challenge, WWF Wrestling Challenge, followed by Superstars of Wrestling.
Right.
Pre-recorded matches. They'd be in
Sure.
Chattanooga or here at the Memorial Nashville Auditorium, whatever. Mondays was Primetime Wrestling, which was the recap of the whole week with just Bobby Heenan and Gorilla Monsoon in the studio. And then every once in a while, I think it was like once a month, they do the Saturday night's main event. That's where you saw Hulk Hogan.
Right.
He didn't do those other jobs. And when I remember just the Hulkster would come out of the Ultimate Warrior and just being like, yeah, I mean, you jump up and scream, and it was really, really, really fun. I don't even know how we got into wrestling. We just one day decided, hey, this is a cool thing to watch.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it was awesome, and I watched it all the way. I got out of it a little bit in college years because I just didn't watch a lot of TV back then.
Sure.
Because I was too busy. But Teammates was all about it was the Monday Night Wars at that point. Yeah,
absolutely. What's really funny?
You knew enough to know what was going on, but I just didn't watch it religiously.
Well, and it's like soap operas. You can tune out for a long time and tune back in and just pick right up where you left off.
Yeah.
It's I get a kick out of it on the interwebs, the YouTubes and the reels and things that'll pop up, and they'll show old rock interviews.
Oh, I love those. Yeah.
Oh my gosh, some of those interviews and stuff, the things, the stunts that they did, and
I think you forget how good he was at that.
He was
He had
the
much of a
best.
game changer. He was
The best. Yeah. And there was when he starts imitating people. I mean, if you get a chance, just if you're a fan of Dwayne Johnson, go back and look up some of his interviews, because he had hair back then. But he'll start imitating Steve Austin. He'll start imitating Triple H. There's a whole bunch of them where the guys he's having these, calling them jabronis and doing the eyebrow thing.
Doesn't matter what's your name.
Exactly. And it's the guys they're supposed to be mad at him, and they start giggling. They'll crack up. There's a whole bunch of them where they break character.
Oh yeah.
Because he's just funny. He's just
he's
Dwayne
great.
Johnson's just hilarious. Just a great guy.
Talk about a guy with a work ethic, man. He got out of wrestling, went into the acting world, kind of like Hogan did. Had a much more successful career, obviously. But I remember his early days. He was just so bad at acting. He was so bad. Because there's a difference between performing live in the wrestling environment but when you're trying to do dramatic effects, sometimes the translation gets lost. And he was so. I didn't hate him. He wasn't awful, but it just was like you could tell he's just not there.
Okay, so
and I think
Tooth Fairy versus Jumanji, there's no comparison.
Oh my God.
Tooth Fairy was a cute little movie. It was fun, but in Jumanji.
What are you doing, Salty?
I just unplugged. Hang on, you're gonna get a big loud.
There we go.
I was doing a little audio engineering, but anyway, my point is he's
Stop playing with your thing.
he's really excelled as an actor. He's done a great job.
Yeah, he's gotten through it. It's amazing.
I think one of my favorite movies of his, The Rundown.
Yes,
Where
underrated,
and it's one of my favorite. It was so funny. He and Stifler.
yeah,
They're just.
that guy dropped off.
He dropped off the face of the earth. Yeah, whatever happened to him?
I think because he was pigeonholed.
But he was so good in that movie.
I think Dukes of Hazzard killed his career.
Yeah, could have. Yeah, could have. What also is funny about Dwayne Johnson is that he married that first wife of his,
High school sweetheart, or college sweetheart.
college sweetheart.
They're still in business together.
Well, thank you for just stepping on my parade, but I appreciate that. But anyway, they divorced but maintained their relationship as business partners and best friends, and she and he now own that football league, that XFL. He's the money behind that. He bought that.
She operates. Doesn't she run $7 Productions too?
Yeah. She's huge.
She's like a CEO or C.
Her name is on the tip of my tongue.
Yeah.
Garcia. Danny Garcia.
Yeah.
And I mean, she's remarried and he's remarried, but they're making money hand over fist because they had a really good product, and she knew how to market it and manage it, and I mean, she was super, super smart. Anyway, it's really good.
Actually, did you see him in Ballers? Is it Ballers? The HBO show Ballers, where he's a sports agent.
No, I didn't see that.
Not a sports agent. He's a financial advisor for professional athletes.
Huh.
On HBO. It's a pretty good little show.
It's called Ballers?
Ballers. Yeah.
Huh. No, I've never seen it.
Yeah. He's the main guy in that one. Yeah.
Okay, so getting back to high school sports and wrestling.
Yep. Real quick,
The shirt that I'm wearing.
First of all, I thought that was roller derby.
Thanks for the segue into that.
Yep.
And
I've been thinking about this shirt for a minute, but because I thought it was roller derby, but it looks, now that I see it, it does look like wrestling.
So this shirt is in support of Piper Fowler.
Piper Fowler.
Piper Fowler is from Cleveland, Tennessee. That's where she lives now. She wrestles for Coach Boskin there, and his Cleveland girls won the back-to-back state championships. Piper is she's going to be a junior and senior. She's going to be a senior. Anyway, she is wrestling. I think she leaves this week, and she's going to Lebanon, which is not a really nice place to be right about now.
The country, not
the country,
not
not in Wilson County. But she's going to be wrestling in the World's Championships.
Nice.
She's going to be representing the United States of America in the 17 and under World's Championships. Last year, she went to Istanbul, Turkey, and wrestled in the World's Championships and in the 16 and under and won. She's the reigning 16 and under World's Champion female wrestler. This year, she's made it. She's going to be representing the United States, and she's going to be wrestling the 17 under. Well, she also has I went the last time I was in Williamson County, was at the state championships wrestling match for high school. She had a brother who was a senior, and her brother, her twin, she's a twin, and so it was two brothers and a sister all wrestling in the state championships, and they all three won. And it was pretty cool.
It's like the Hart family.
It's like the Hart family. And it was amazing. So she was selling these shirts to help, with costs. I mean, their mom and dad and she and coach and everybody, they're flying to Lebanon. And it's really a cool thing. It's a really cool thing. So my wife and I are big supporters of her, and we're supporters of their family. Her oldest brother, who won the state championship, just graduated basic training at the Air Force Academy in Colorado Springs. He went into the Air Force Academy. He was super smart kid. Won the state championship two or three times. Valedictorian of his class, number 1 ranked in his class, and of course the Air Force signed him. And then her twin has also committed to the Air Force. There's 7 kids in their family. This group is in the middle, and her mom and dad, Mackenzie and Zach Fowler, wrestled for me in high school. Zach was my heavyweight. I was his coach, and Mackenzie, his wife, was my manager. And one day about senior year, I said, you two should date. Here's $20. Go get something to eat. And so I set him up on that. Now, I claim this. They say it didn't quite go down like that, but I remember specifically that I'm responsible for that. So they started dating his senior year in high school, and all these, and that was 1996. And then 22 years later, they now have 7 children, multiple state championships.
Soon to be
fantastic older kids.
Air Force officers.
Air Force officers. Their older kids are doing fantastic. Landon and Mia, and we're stoked. My wife,
big fans.
We're huge fans, but we're huge fans of high school sports. Anyway, my wife and I are both retired high school teachers, so we support. We're an easy target. Everybody that's selling anything, we buy it all because we sold it all. She for 35.
Been there, done that.
You know what I'm saying? When you're in school and you're trying to raise money, we sold everything from Otis Spunkmeyer cookies to coupon books to
oranges.
Oranges. We did it all.
Yeah.
But candy. I mean, we did it all. So we buy it all now. But anyway, so we got these shirts and we want to support her. And
she's at the Worlds?
She's going to be at the Worlds. Yeah, they leave in a couple days. They're going to go to the Worlds.
So it's coming up soon. Now that the Olympics are over.
This week. Yeah, they closing ceremonies were last night.
Okay, good.
And
I'm getting kind of tired of the Olympics.
Yeah, me too. And so they'll be going, and I'll be following it on the internet. So we're excited. We're excited.
Good.
We're excited. But anyway, that's what the shirt is. That's
cool.
the shirt is. Yeah,
that's fantastic. That's good to know that there's local heroes around.
Yeah, local heroes from Cleveland, Tennessee, and Cleveland is the. I mean, they're the bomb.com. They have the best wrestling program. It's amazing. Of course, high school wrestling was dying there for a long time. There wasn't a lot of opportunities to go on other than club wrestling, in college, and it's making a resurgence. There was a young lady named Andy Jones, who I think she graduated in 96, 97, and she was the first girl in Tennessee that they didn't have a girls class.
Oh,
so she made it to the state championship. Wrestling boys. She didn't place, but she's an amazing kid. I think she's still coaching right now to this day. I saw her at the championships and still looks great. She was homecoming queen. She was a cheerleader, and she was the first female to make it to the state championship all her senior year. She was a great kid from McMinnville. And had a great coach, Steve Fulham. But Andy's super kid, and still getting after it, still coaching hard, and still I see stuff about her. She posts stuff on Facebook a lot. She's really big into, helping women's sports, and it's really cool.
Yeah, we try to support where we can. I mean, Joey doesn't live in Spring Hill. He's a Murfreesboro guy too. But we got 2 twins that come in here. I think they're juniors now. At MTSU.
Okay.
They're from Spring Hill. I think they ran at Independence, or was it Summit? I can't remember.
Distance runners.
Cross country.
Yeah.
And
distance
they
runners.
do distance they do the 800.
Yeah.
In track and field.
Uh-huh.
So anyway, 2 tall, blonde twins.
Yeah.
Train hard, work hard. They were for a while coming back here on the weekends and working at Buffalo Wild Wings. This summer they said no more wings. They got a job at the winery down the street. So it's the easiest job they've ever had in their life. So all I had to do is like carry stuff every once in a while.
Right.
But, they also are talented artists. They're working on. That's kind of part of their academic careers. They want to be comic book artists. So
cool.
we try to hook them up with the blank covers for a comic book, which you can have either professional drawn or you can do it yourself. So they bring us in these all the time. We're like, look, just bring them in here. We'll put a price tag on them and we'll give you half the money. And they've sold quite a few books out of here, and they're getting better. You can see the progress of when they started and as they're learning more and honing their skills. So we try to support those guys as much as we can. Anybody else that's like that around here. But yeah, we're big fans of high school sports, college sports, so.
Yeah, I'm with you. I wish I could support them all, but
it's
it's tough. It's tough.
It is tough.
And going even out of the high schools, you got that great middle school right down the road, Heritage Middle School.
Oh yeah,
right down. Yeah, they
That's
do
where
all
Eli
kinds.
went.
Is it really? Yeah, they
Yeah.
do all kinds of really good stuff over there too.
Played football there. That's where he got his football career started. He's on the JV squad this year.
That's crazy.
He got a truck, right?
Yeah, he
that's
told
great.
me.
Good times. Yeah, he's just balling. He's having fun.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's a good thing.
Yeah. I think he has a game today. No, is it next week? It's next week, I think.
JV. Well, they play on odd days. They're like, okay, Tuesday afternoon at 5:30, we'll have a JV game.
I told my mom, I was like, look, if it's real hot, I ain't going. Sorry, I'm busy.
Tell them to swing by after. I'll give them a Gatorade.
Yeah, it's I'm at the point where I want to sit out in the heat. Like I won't go to Braves games unless it's a night game.
Yeah.
Just because, man, one time I went in daytime and it was like, and I've gotten spoiled because the hotel, the Battle of Atlanta hotel,
Right.
hooks Toby up with tickets.
Right.
And sometimes, rarely, sometimes those tickets make it their way to me. And I'm like, yeah. And they're Sky Club. They're Delta Sky Club.
You can't beat that.
Right behind home plate.
Yeah.
Like, it's like,
it's
I'm
hard to
spoiled.
beat.
And I can't go sit up with the plebes anymore. I got to have these tickets,
Right.
So, I actually met the guy at the bar at the Battle of Atlanta that actually is responsible for hooking Toby up with those.
Nice. Did you give him your card?
He gave me his card.
That's
So
even
he said,
better.
just call me and I'll handle it. I'm like, because apparently I think you can request them.
I got
I've
you.
asked Toby a lot. Hey, what do I got to do to get a show? I want to go to this game. I want to go to the game. He's like, trails off. But no. That stuff I've gotten spoiled. But I won't go to night game. I won't go to day games. It's not like sitting in the heat, sweating.
I told my nephew one time. He's like my kid brother. He's 14 years younger than I am. I'm the youngest. He's the oldest in our family. My sister, his mom's the oldest in our family. So we grew up. I was his babysitter and all that. But anyway, I told him, I said, as you get older, it's more important for comfort than convenience. Even my hunting, and I love to hunt, and I would spot and stalk and set up and go out and blah, 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 and do all that stuff. And I've been pretty successful. And now I have a tent that I set up. It's a blind.
Yeah.
And, and I set it up kind of on this point of these trees. And
It's got a mini air conditioner and a coffee maker. And
anything that doesn't make a cent. And I got a special chair in there that's super comfortable and it swivels and and I got a tarp and then a blanket on top of that so my feet don't make noise, and I'm chilling, man. I'm just it's 12 minutes from my front door. I don't have to walk and work up a sweat and all that. I can park not far from it and just hike a straight little path in there, and I just wait on them to come to me, and they do. They in droves, but so I pick and choose when I want to shoot. But it's as we get older. I had a chance to go to a Raider game. I'm a big Raider fan.
Shout out to the Raiders.
Shout out to the Raiders. No free plugs. But anyway, and our seats were amazing. Our seats are on the 45-yard line, like 13 rows from the stadium. But they're those hot plastic seats in Las Vegas, and it's an afternoon game. And if you've been watching the temperatures, it'll get down to 96 tonight. Get down to 96.
Yeah.
It'll be 100 and 108 tomorrow, I think. No, I don't. No, it's okay. It's okay. It's a preseason game. No thanks.
Yeah, sometimes it's not just much, for me. Some things is it as comfort as it is that I'm bored. Like, and I don't want to be bored. I got things I can be doing.
Right,
so if I'm
right.
bored, I don't want to be wasting time. So, and that's not just high school sports or anything like that, but that's just with anything in life. I just I've got ADD. Like, keep my attention. Like, it's work at it a little bit, or I'm moving on to the next thing.
Right.
Because I just got so much I got in my head on a daily basis. Here it is, almost noon today. We've already done, having meetings. We're doing a podcast. Matt and I got several other shoots to do today, and before we know it, it's going to be like 6 o'clock at night.
6
like,
o'clock,
yeah. I'm getting tomorrow. But no, for me, it's like just boredom.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. So, high school sports, college sports. What else is going on?
So let's talk about. I got
You got some ticks you've been working.
I just I got
itches you wanted to scratch.
I got a little mini rant.
Okay.
Not really a rant. It's just my opinion on things. And it's like they say, it's my opinion. It ought to be yours.
Yeah.
And it has to do with politics.
Okay.
But it's my take on politics. I think there are two sides, and there's the side, and within the sides are multiple sides. I believe that there are diehard Democrats and there are diehard Republicans. I believe that people can vote with their heart, and they oftentimes vote with their heart as opposed to voting with their brain. There's also things that they can vote with their allegiances, as opposed to voting with what they see and hear and spend and do. This is the first time that we have ever had an opportunity to vote with two groups prior to Joe Biden dropping out, President Biden, where you had two actual presidents, and you can say, where was I? How did I do during this term? How did I do on this term? A lot of them, when Bill Clinton was coming into power, and he was, they would say, well, during the Reagan administration, and then when Bush came into power, he said, well, during the Clinton administration, they talked about, this is my plan for the future. This is what happened in the past, contrasting and comparing.
Yeah.
So I say all that to say this, that I think that people in this coming election, I think because we are so far apart on things, I don't really think that there are that many people that right now are saying, do I want to vote for former President Trump, or do I want to vote for Vice President Harris? I really don't think there's that many people saying, I'm going to go one way or the other. And I really believe that in my heart, because I believe that the things that they truly believe in what the Harris people believe in and the Trump people believe in are so diametrically opposed, you know, depending on what news cycle you watch, or all of them. You know, I'm kind of a little bit of a news junkie, so I like to watch CNN and Fox and Newsmax and all, try to just get all of it.
Sure.
And, you know, just because it's kind of fun seeing, I watch a speech and I go, oh, okay, that, you know, she said that really well, or he said that really well. And then I watch the spin on them, and it's completely different than what I just heard, you know. But I look at the democratic process and I say, okay, you know, President Biden, you know, you almost feel sorry for the old guy. You know, he kind of got kicked out, you know.
Oh yeah, he's wrote off. He's written off.
And you know, a month or two ago, they were talking about how Kamala Harris had the worst ratings of a vice president in history, you know, and now she's the darling. And a lot of it is the way that
I don't know that most people. Now you can correct me. I just don't know most people are buying that.
Well, I think
the news is presenting that,
and they are, and I think that I believe in my heart that there is a political machine, and there has always been a political machine. We can't get, you know, the Kennedys were part of a political machine. You know, we can't get away from that. So, I guess my point is, my overall big point is that I'm saying is that there really is the people that I think the determination has already been made. Yes, they do these massive rallies and these you know, they're basically pep rallies, you know, for your candidate. And the Democrats are fixing to do their conference, and it'll be, you know, everybody will be woo 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 woo, just like they were after the Republicans, woo 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 woo, and then it's going to die down, and they're calling it the honeymoon season for the Harris Walz candidacy. But I think that people have pretty much made up their mind. I really just don't see that many people saying that they're undecided. As a matter of fact, and I meet a lot of people, I talk to a lot of people, I don't think I've met anyone that has seriously said to me, I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I don't know what side I'm going to vote for. I think people have looked at, and they're saying, you know, all the bad things about Donald Trump. You know, he's too boisterous, and he's too mean, and he's you know, blah 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 blah. And the same thing about Harris. You know, she's dumb and she can't speak, and you know, she's 26 days and she hasn't held a news conference. She hasn't answered questions more than 90 seconds when Trump has been on multiple shows and multiple platforms. There's really not anybody that says, I just don't know. I have to look at their policies. I have to look at their plans. I really don't see it.
I don't think people look at policy. If they did, it's a no-brainer, in my opinion.
Sure.
If you looked at it objectively and with some sort of sense. No, you're probably. I haven't heard that. You're not wrong.
I don't know anybody that's said to me, well, I'll make
most
my
people
decision.
have already made their mind up long before they even did the primaries.
Yeah.
You know.
And that's why
I run into people that says, I'm considering RFK, you know. I've heard people.
Sure.
Because he at least, here's the thing about Donald Trump. And what upsets most people, if you really get down and you ask him, is that he's a terrible public speaker. Because he's so boisterous and he goes off script and he wanders, you know, that to me is like, he is the thing I think upsets people the most, you know. If you're talking about economic policies, look, I had a small business during the Trump years, and business was good, you know, much better than it's been in the last 4 years, you know, much like almost the opposite side of the coin. Here's a question. I heard somebody say this. When do you actually see the federal government in your daily life?
You're talking to somebody that's on Social Security, so
okay, I get you. When do you actually see the government, the federal government?
Well, you see what they do, but you don't actually see the federal government.
I see the federal government when it's tax time. When they come to get their taxes, which I have no control over. That's when I actually see something that resembles the federal. I don't see them outside my front door, thank God. I don't see them outside my business. They're just.
Oh, I disagree. I 100% disagree. I saw the federal government today when I drove down the interstate.
The federal government?
Absolutely. You don't think that that anything that's an interstate highway is funded by federal money?
I thought those were funded by here in Tennessee, funded by the counties.
No, the state routes are, but the interstates are a federal through the Eisenhower years. That's when they decided to make those.
My point is like there's like they're not interfering with your life. Like there's nobody standing outside here with a gun that's going to tell me how to go.
Sure.
Be pro-abortion or pro-not.
I got you.
Know what I mean? But they come and get that money, you know? And it's like, so my point is, it's like, if the main time you see, the primary time you see the federal government is when they come to collect taxes, wouldn't that be the thing you would want to focus on the most?
100%.
Does that make sense?
Sure.
You see my point?
I know what I
And
paid
your
for taxes the last 2 years.
of course, I know what I've paid too. I know what I owe.
I got killed. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anybody that's 1099 that runs their own business, that anybody that isn't a W-2 employee whose taxes are automatically pulled out of their check before they even see it. Wouldn't that be the thing that would be driving most of your? Shouldn't that be the thing that drives most of your decisions? Not, well, I like this person because they're this.
Again, what was my first thing I said? Voting with your heart, not your head.
And that's I guess I'm sort of kind of trying to agree with you. It's like, and when you're younger, you're definitely going to think because you don't know. You don't really know. You don't know unless you're just one of those people that got into certain avenues really early in life. You know, I said the majority of us. I couldn't care less about politics when I was in my 20s.
Sure.
I was like, whatever. You know, that guy looks cool. I don't like this. I don't like that. You know, whatever. You know, and you sort of have an idea what you like and what you don't like, and sort of make decisions based off limited information and a whole lot of, like you said, your heart. You know, and at the end of the day, though, that's not what.
Well, your heart doesn't put food on the table.
No,
and
it also
your head does.
But when you're standing over here wondering, like, man, how am I going to get this money? How am I going to get money in here when people can't come in and spend this money because they're too busy paying high rent, high gasoline prices, which all this stuff is taxed, and it's like we don't teach economics anymore. We don't even teach people how to do a checkbook. You know, it's like you don't teach any of these. They're not even aware of it.
Well,
you
people don't do checkbooks.
They don't.
It's all done with those cards.
Yeah,
which I hate.
Which I hate too.
Yeah, that's why I try to do everything cash. I carry
because
cash.
here's the thing about me and credit cards. When you're on the retail side of it, you see how much money is taken from your credit card processor just
absolutely
every time somebody swipes a card. So it's like cash is king, man.
I don't do anything with small businesses that are done with credit cards. It's all cash. Everything I do is cash.
And those are the kind of things that I think about. Is like, and then here's another thing. Put the economic stuff aside. We're on the verge of like major world conflicts.
Yeah,
right?
The big one, WW3
and
WW3,
and some could argue even a potential internal conflict. With those types of scenarios looming on the horizon, in the shadows over here, maybe not, maybe poking their head out at this point. Wouldn't you want somebody in office that can, one,
has been proven,
well, primarily could de-escalate, bring the temperature down in the room, or two, respond with some sense that we're not going to make this worse, but we are going to respond, you know? And after watching like things like that Christmas special that the White House put out last year.
The Satanic Christmas special?
No, the one that was all like Candyland.
Oh, that one?
It's like, are these the people you want in charge? Because truthfully, I don't think anybody's in charge. It's right now I just think people are just kind of run amok up in the big Capitol. And I've said that. It's like I don't think there's really a person that's like, it's like being in a high school environment and there's no principals. It's just like teachers are doing whatever they want to. The kids are sort of like, you know, the teachers are trying, you know, they're making policies, but there's really no administration. That's kind of what I think is going on.
You know,
as much as anything.
But
I don't know. I mean, I can go down the conspiracy, you know, the deep state telling the people, and it is. But when the people are run amok, the deep state can do what they want to, whoever. You know, it's like run amok, man. It's a run amok.
So there's a couple of thoughts on that. I go back to the movie City Slickers.
I know Matt's back here wanting to talk because he loves to talk politics.
Yeah. So there's a movie called City Slickers with Billy Crystal.
Seen it, love it.
And at one point, they're riding on their horses, and they're talking about their best day and their worst day.
Yeah.
And the guy that Billy Crystal's riding with, and he says, I had an abusive stepfather that blah blah blah, and he goes, and it was my worst day, and he cracks, and he says, I ended up, he was being abusive to his mom. I can't remember the story verbatim, but he ends up cracking him with a baseball bat, and he says that was my worst day, and it was also my best day.
Yeah.
So I think your what you said about Donald Trump, how he goes off script, and the reason that you think a lot of people don't like him is he's abrasive and he goes off script and he tells stories and he speaks from the heart it appeals to the everyman. It appeals to the not just the intellectuals that have seen what he's done over 4 years, but it appeals to the people that want to say that stuff.
Right.
So it's his best day and it's his worst day. It's his best thing and it's his worst thing. Now, in relation to that, I had a friend tell me one time. He said, if I was sick, if I was terminally ill, and some say that our country might be getting close to that if I had a doctor, and the doctor was just hands down smiley, laughy, the best bedside manner you ever seen, but wasn't worth a crap as a surgeon, would I want to be told that everything's going to be all right, that you should go with me? Or am I going to get the one that comes in and says, you won't be dead in 24 hours unless I operate right now? And you know that he's the best and he can go in there and fix what's wrong.
Right.
So what do you want? And that's what, and I think that's what the appeal of Donald Trump is that he's been proven that he can do, my goodness, he had so many demons that he had to fight all the time, whether they were made up or legit. Mm-hmm. And so much crap his first term. There seems to be so much stuff that people can say and do and get away with if they're in the right party. And I look back at when all those riots were going on, and the Floyd riots, and what an awful thing had happened to that man. But was the right response to cause billions and billions of dollars worth of damage to other people that weren't directly inflicted on that? The same thing that happened with I remember the Rodney King riots. The same kind of thing. Was it okay for them to randomly attack people just based on the color of their skin? It's wrong. But the media, the way they put it out there, Vice President Harris, wanted to start a fund to help those people that were arrested for rioting. What is that? Where does that come from? Why does that stuff not brought up? And
I'm just wondering why that's even. I mean, like, you're about to be you want to be elected president, and this is what you're thinking about. It's like these are things that should be handled by somebody else.
Yeah.
You've got much more pressing problems.
Yeah, I think her handlers, and I believe she has them. I think her handlers don't necessarily. Man, they're making some big faux pas. Her not meeting with with Benjamin Netanyahu when he was here, because she had to speak at that sorority that she spoke to. So she chose to bypass. This is a person that could possibly be the president of the United States. She chose to not meet with our strongest ally in the Middle East, yet to speak at a sorority function. Yet last week she met with some pro-Palestinian folks. I mean, where are the priorities there?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
My last thing is that, again, it goes back to to working with your heart and not your head. Anybody that claims to be pro-Hamas or pro-Palestinian and is part of a counterculture, if you're I've seen it, the gay lesbian whales for Hamas, or whatever they are. You're talking about a group of people that would put you to death.
Yeah.
How can you support that? Anybody that is Israel is not 100% Jewish, but is the Jewish state, and if you are of the Jewish faith, how can you vote for someone or to put into power who supports the people that do you know what from the river to the sea means? It means to wipe Israel off the face of the earth. If you were to look at a map, Israel is the size of New Jersey. It's just a tiny little sliver, and it's completely surrounded by hostiles that want to wipe it off the face of the earth. And you're gonna support them? How can people be supportive? That's always been my little bit of problem. That's why I like to vote independent. Claim that I'm not affiliated with one party or the other. Because I look at Democrats and I go, how can I be part of a group that says that puts the squad into power, who are 100% anti-Israel, but yet there's also people that are Jewish in that? How can you be a Democratic Jew when you're so full of getting rid of Israel and saying that? Now, granted, what's going on in Gaza is ugly. But we didn't. The Israelis didn't start that.
I've noticed a lot of celebrities who were very active against Trump for years.
Sure,
are very quiet these days.
Yeah, well, a lot of them were his friends.
I think there's this, and Matt, you could probably chime in on this one, but I do think there's this quiet group of people who were like against Trump for a long time, who are now going, wait a minute,
maybe it wasn't that bad.
Maybe things were better back then. It's like,
and that's what I'm saying. When
it starts affecting people's personal pocketbooks and personal lives and like their ability to get work, you're going to see a huge shift. You're going to I'm jumping to this side of the fence. I just, from Republican or Democrat, be damned. I couldn't care less. It's like, when you look at what you're having to deal with daily, groceries. Dude, we went to the store just to buy paper towels, garbage sacks, things you need for the house. $300. It's like $300. Like, what the heck? And every time I fill up my truck, it's $100. And that adds up. Fortunately, I'm not commuting a long way. So it does last me a hot minute. But same time, it's still like, you can look at the numbers and say things are more expensive now. Is that stuff ever going to go back down? No, because we've already crossed that bridge. What are you looking at? What's this yellow? What?
It says, sorry about that. I had a tickle. It says yellow dog Democrat.
A yellow dog Democrat.
Do you know that phrase?
No.
Matt knows that phrase. So it's an old phrase meaning that somebody that's a Democrat would vote Democrat if they were running a yellow dog. Do you know what I mean? I could nominate my golden retriever under the Democratic Party and he would win. It's a yellow, no matter who. It's a yellow dog Democrat. So right now in our lifetime, we're seeing a yellow dog Democrat, and we're seeing the yellow dog Democrats who are voting for. These are the same people who are voting for Harris. This is the same group of folks that were saying maybe they were Shapiro people, maybe they were Gavin people, maybe they were somebody else, maybe they were Gretchen Whitmer, Andy Bashir. Maybe they were saying that Biden isn't the catch-all, but they were never ever did the name Kamala Harris. Or Kamala, I'm not sure. I don't care.
I think it's Kamala.
Whatever. Never did that that name ever come up in the conversation. They were talking about rerunning Hillary. They were talking about Michelle Obama. They were talking about a whole lot of people before the powers that be said we need to run. But the reason that they did it, it was and Matt, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but it was a financial thing because she was on the ticket. So the donors,
I think they had a
Which is
different.
still being challenged, by the way.
it's still
Sure.
being
And
challenged.
I do think they had a different plan, but when Biden's health declined like it did, as fast as it did, and after that debate, like I think they were like, "Oh God, we got to come up with a plan B."
I don't agree with that. I
You
no,
think
because
they intentionally had this in place.
no, I don't agree with that either. But I do think that his health has been this way for years. It has been this way for years, and it has been hidden. 6 months ago, or I'm sorry, the beginning of the summer, they came out and said, "Well, he's in perfect health. He's
right.
he just sleeps a lot and he works. He doesn't work after 4:00." And Peter Doocy said, "Hey, so if the phone call comes at 3:00 in the morning, well, he has a staff." Well, yeah, he's got a staff that's been pulling these strings all along. Everybody said, how come they're not being calling that? Why is CNN, ABC, MSNBC, why are they not reporting that? All these people that said he's the Energizer Bunny, he's the go-getter. Everybody's saying that. Well, then why did they push him out? If they said, we saw it when even he said, I saw that I couldn't win. Okay, what is the reason you couldn't win? You saw you couldn't win. Everybody says you couldn't win.
Did he say that?
Yeah, he said that
In that interview?
It wasn't in the interview. It was in the the speech when he turned the reins over to her. Well, when it became abundantly
He said
clear,
the words, "I saw that I couldn't win."
when it became abundantly, Matt, help me if I'm wrong, but when it became abundantly clear that we weren't going to finish this race the way we planned or whatever, however he phrased it. But these are the same people that 3 weeks ago, especially after the debate debacle, changing gears just a smidge. Donald Trump gave an interview the other day, and he talked about retribution. And from the very beginning, he has said, I'm going to let the economy be my retribution on the people that have tried to attack him, with all the craziness.
Sure.
He said, somebody said, well, what he brought up, he said, I could have gone after Hillary. He said, there was a lot of stuff out there. I could have gone after Hillary, but I didn't think it was prudent to put the spouse of a former president in jail. He's funny. He's witty. I loved when he did one of maybe his first year in office. He did that Washington press conference thing, and he was up to the correspondence dinner. I think it was the only one he did, and he was talking. He said, "Yeah, I was coming off the elevator down here, and I bumped into Hillary Clinton, and she said, 'Pardon me,' and he said, 'I might.'" That's the kind of stuff. That's everyman stuff.
Yeah,
but
and I think
anyway.
that's what people want. Try to beat this thing to death. I think we're got some interesting times coming up.
I do.
But outside of high school sports, we're going to be the next three months are going to be interesting.
I want to say this, and I say this to my wife, and I say this to a lot of my Republican friends and my conservative friends. As if for some reason Donald Trump doesn't get reelected, my goodness, it's not the end of the world. You won't see the Republicans rioting in the streets. You won't see. I don't think you're going to see us. I don't think you're going. Well, you're going to see people pissed off. I don't think you're going to.
I don't know, man. I think most Republicans aren't concerned that Kamala could actually, in a fair election, could actually be done.
I don't think she's going to.
If she were to do that, they're going to automatically assume
foul play,
voter
fraud,
or whatever. There are too many conversations of that from 2020.
Right.
And that sting is still there, and they're going to be. We want to know. Yeah. We're not. We don't believe it. Do it again.
I think a lot of it's going to come out of this. The DNC, the Democratic National Convention in Chicago, is going to be I hope it's not. I hope it's not a debacle. I hope it's not like it was in '68. I hope it's not full of riots and.
I think the Democrats played a lot of cards in the last 4 years. They played a lot of heavy.
They've played a lot of cards in the last 3 weeks.
Right, and I think they have burned. It's like they burned up the currency. Like, oh man, we've played every hand we have. It's like I don't know. It just seems that way. If you read, I'm not in the thick of it. I don't watch this stuff religiously, but it just kind of feels like they've played a lot of hands. And we are where we are. It's like, and they're either going to have to take it on the chin and reload and endure what, the Trump administration would bring. Because it does even seem like some of these news correspondents are like all of a sudden, like, who have bashed this dude for 8 years.
Yeah, they're coming around.
Are coming around. And it's like when that changes, something else has changed. It's like, look, we have got to get on board with this while we can. Because we don't want to be on the other side of it,
Well,
and I don't think they have a champion. The Democratic side does not have a champion. They don't have, a John F. Kennedy or an Obama type that they can rally behind and say, look, or a Bill Clinton and say, look, this is our guy. They've got Kamala Harris, who has done zero.
Well,
Zilch.
they do. They actually have two, but they're saving them for. Donald Trump can't run for re-election, and I don't think that as of right now that Vance has the staying power. But if they ran Newsom or they ran Shapiro in after this next
cycle, I think it's
cycle,
like we've got to.
And I think they're saying that let's
that's
wait.
That's the landscape.
Yeah, and I think that's what they're thinking is in the future. But
the powers that be that control all the money have raked it in for the last 4 years, and they may be like, all right, we got to crank that valve, let the American people breathe a little bit easier for a little bit. I don't know, man. These are just things I'm hoping, because then people can relax. When people relax, they get, less focused.
Right.
Because think about, when I was a kid or younger, and I don't know how you were. I don't know if you were into politics as a kid. Matt seems like he was, but I wasn't. I just wasn't thinking about those things because I was more concerned with the day-to-day things I had in my life, and because when I remember like a few years ago, my brother Brian asked me, because when did people all of a sudden start caring about politics? Like it was the main thing to talk about. Because when we were kids, we talked about Michael Jordan and the Bulls.
Yeah.
We're talking about this girl or that girl, or we're talking about, things that were completely in the media, but like had nothing to do with politics.
Yeah, but you weren't writing checks then. You didn't have a mortgage. You didn't have insurance.
I didn't think about those things. You're right. A lot of that's generational. And like as a kid and as you grow older, your tastes tend to change. I mean,
it's because of the young vote has become so important.
We blame MTV for that.
No, the politicians have realized that.
Believe it or not, Donald
the
Trump.
quicker you push politics on the younger generation, the quicker you sway them to your ideology.
Well, that's why we give them
Obama did
tax
that.
breaks. Well, Obama was I didn't mean to interrupt you, Matt, but Obama was a genius. He was the first one to grab a hold of these things and say, this is how we need to go.
To be fair, they were still brand new when he got into office. So was Facebook, if you want to get down to it. Social, and Trump did it too. He rocked the social, and that was the thing that got Richard Nixon elected back in the '60s. He saw television and he was good at it, and he put himself out there, and people.
He was not good on television.
He utilized it though.
Yeah,
but I'm not saying he was he wasn't Ronald Reagan.
No, but his first faux pas on television was the Kennedy-Nixon debates, which he actually. When you watch the whole debate, he did he did amazing on it, but he was sweating. He looked nervous.
Yeah.
He wasn't this handsome war hero.
But I'm saying he used the emergence of television to his
Sorry about that.
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
I've been coughing too. I've been fighting a cold for a while.
So I think one of the things that is funny is I remember growing up, the first time I ever registered as a voter, I was a Democrat. First few presidential elections I voted in, I never picked a winner. I even voted. Go ahead. I even voted for Ross Perot. You remember Ross Perot? He was an independent.
Yeah,
I
we
loved
talked about
Ross.
Ross Perot this morning.
I loved Ross Perot. I voted for Ross Perot. I didn't start picking winners. I had a really this is kind of funny. I had a really hard time with President Obama. I voted for him once. The reason I voted for him was because we just hadn't had a speaker like that. That guy could talk, man.
Yeah, he was good.
He was amazing. He was so good. I remember watching the Democratic National Convention in 2003, I think, whenever it was, or 4. I guess it would have been 4. Yeah,
2004.
And I
No,
said,
no, he didn't get elected to 2008.
I know. What I'm saying
you're talking
is
about
that he spoke at the
as a senator.
DNC in 4.
Yeah.
And I said, this guy, and I told my class, I said, watch, and I showed them. I was teaching theater at the time, and I said, this guy, look at the command of the room he had. I said, this guy could be president.
Yeah.
And they were like, what? And sure enough, 4 years later, he gets elected. But he was just such a gosh, he was so good. But then after 4 years, I said, I don't like it. I'm going in another direction. But anyway, my point was, we really have to. I think if you really truly are undecided, I guess it's obvious that I tend to be a little bit more conservative, and things used to be a lot more powerful for me. Abortion, immigration, inflation, nuclear power. I had degrees of thoughts on all that stuff, and I would tend to go with whichever candidate I thought the best of. I think since the whole abortion issue has been taken off the table with Roe versus Wade being thrown out, and now it's back in the states' hands, I think President Trump is handling that very well. I think the Democratic Party is trying to pull that back in, and I just don't think it's going to fly, because it really is up to the states. Now that issue has gone, and if you don't like the way your local or state politics are handling things, then move. Sorry,
I think a lot of things should be handled on the state level.
Yeah,
personally.
yeah, but. I love that we don't, here in Tennessee and Nevada and Florida or Texas, I'm not sure, don't have state income tax. That was always crazy to me.
But as a small business owner, they get you everywhere else.
Yeah, but they don't get you as much. Trust me.
I don't know.
I paid income tax in Colorado and California.
I paid it in Georgia and California. Well, California's pretty bad.
California's awful.
And Kentucky, but even though I paid state income taxes in those states, I just feel like in some places,
excuse me,
and it could just be the fact that I'm paying sales tax.
Mm-hmm.
I'm paying a lot of that. There's a lot of sales tax.
A lot of sales tax, yeah.
So that may just be where I'm like, oh, that's where they're really getting us is on the sales tax. If we didn't have to pay, if I was in Kentucky, no state tax, 6% sales tax, so much better.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, you collect that from the customer anyway. And I'm like, do you know how to run a small business? Shut up.
Pay me in cash.
Pay me in cash. I put it under the table. Got to pay it anyway.
Oh my gosh.
Man, we talked some politics, man. We got into it.
Yeah.
We talked some sports. We didn't talk any theater or anything today.
No, not today. We'll get into the next one.
Next one. So what's up for the week? What do you got going on?
I've got. I think I'm heading down to I've got casino sports lined up for the end of the week. I've got some free play that I want.
Kathy, take his wallet. Take his wallet.
She can have the wallet. I got the sock drawer money hidden away.
Oh.
It's not hidden.
She knows.
She probably knows.
The Santa Claus. Yes, this is where y'all Santa Claus money's going, by the way.
She knows exactly how much I got.
Santa Claus.
So listen, Santa Claus. So I went and met with my costumer.
I want to see a viral video.
Oh, it's coming.
Of Santa Claus at the slots, just with a big score, and he's going to be putting it in his little cap.
Oh, I need to do that. That would be hilarious. That would be really funny.
And you got to go, ha! You got to do something, man.
Yeah,
I think that would be a good viral video.
I don't think I'm going to do ho-hos. I think I'm going to be like Fonzie in the comb. Fonzie never combed his hair. Fonzie would always go, hey, I don't, hey.
Well, because if he did, he would mess up the.
Yeah, it's got to be, hey. So I think
Fonzie's going to be at the Gallatin show, Gallatin Comic Con.
Henry Winkler is?
Yeah, you
I
got.
love Henry Winkler.
Got to come up. I don't remember the day. It's like the end of October.
You know, that was one of the best shows on TV. It was Henry Winkler, Terry Bradshaw, George Foreman, and William Shatner. And it was. Did you ever watch that?
That was an episode of.
No, that was the show. That was the series. Matt, what was the name of that show? Anyway, those four guys, and they had this one dude, this one younger guy, and they would go around, George Foreman, Terry Bradshaw, Henry Winkler, and William Shatner, and they were, because they're buddies. And those four guys would go around and do adventures. And Terry Bradshaw was notorious for taking his clothes off all the time.
Oh my God.
He'd drink a little bit and he'd get a little schnockered, and William Shatner would know everything, and Henry Winkler was scared of everything, and George Foreman slept all the time. But those four guys would go do adventures. Like, they flew to Japan, and they
Sounds like a good show.
and they went. It was hilarious, and I don't know why they took it off the air, but it was great. I think
They're
they
dinosaurs, and nobody knows who those people are.
probably.
And Terry Bradshaw, he's dead now, isn't he?
No,
Didn't he pass away?
no.
I thought he passed. Something happened. He stopped.
Well, he's gotten sick, but he's not dead.
passed
But
away.
no.
William Shatner is basically
William
Joe
Shatner's
Biden.
hilarious.
I mean, we saw him down in Huntsville. Matt and I forked up the cash, got the autographs. We're like, man, we're not going to get this opportunity again.
No. Well, you
He's
can
like-
still
he's like
sign.
93, 92, 93.
He was the oldest of the bunch.
Yeah. The only
Yeah.
ones that are still alive are William Shatner, Takei, and Koenig. Chekhov, Sulu, and Kirk.
No kidding.
Mhm.
Is
Everybody else is dead.
what's the female?
Sulu, Uhura?
Uhura.
She's the
dead?
last one to pass away.
Oh wow.
The most recent one, I should say.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Too funny. Well, anyway, so that's what I'm doing. So I'm going at the end of the week. I met with my costumer. That's what I started to say, and we went and picked out all the material. I'm having a new suit built. I want
Velvet?
kind of, sort of. I decided to go with flannel because I'm having it lined, and I'm also so that I can open up. It's got a
Stripping Santa.
It's got no, dude.
Open it up. I'm
I
like,
don't,
all right.
I don't have the bod for that anymore. It's got the suspenders, and I'm having the custom belt made, sometimes pictures folks like to do. Take his coat off and his hat off, and I have the real hair for it. And I've got a vest made. It's just really cool. It's just really cool stuff, and so she and I, Lydia is her name, and she's amazing.
She's a costumer. Does she
She's
do
my-
boots? Because
I
there are people out there that can take like the soles of a just like a sneaker that you really are comfortable in, and build boots out of those.
No, I'm buying my boots.
Okay.
I'm buying my boots. And then because you can get those cheaper online.
Okay.
And then I won't do any prosthetics. I may look into some. I don't have much left for eyebrows. They've just kind of fallen out over the years. So I may do some white eyebrows unless my hat comes down low enough.
Yeah.
So
You did little glasses.
I got them.
Okay.
I have 'em.
Sure.
It's kind of the look is kind of there already. But
gonna be awesome.
I do have some gold frame.
If we get to
readers.
Christmas with this podcast, we're gonna do interview Santa.
Oh, I think it'd be great.
It'd be great.
I think we'll do it all as Santa.
Ask Santa Claus.
The whole-
Talk to me, Santa, about your relationship with Mrs. Claus.
A lot of
Because at this point, it can't be charcuterie boards. It has to be cookies.
it has to be cookies. Yeah.
What's your favorite cookie?
Well, right now I went to World Market yesterday because we had to get some syrup for our coffees, and they had ginger snaps on sale.
Have you ever
Yeah.
had those little Canadian leaf maple cookies from Kroger?
No, but I would eat those.
All right, there's a fancy Kroger on your way out.
I'm not stopping.
Okay, I was just saying, next time you go to Kroger, they go to the cookie aisle. They have a maple leaf, like maple syrupy type cookie.
Okay.
I got those one time because somebody said you should try it. I ate the whole damn box.
All of them at once?
Oh my god, pretty much. Like, not at once, but I devoured. They were really good.
Yeah. So my new thing is I'm making sourdough bread. I should have brought you some.
Yeah,
I'll do it. Okay, so I've always wanted, that's what, now that I'm retired, I cook all the time.
Yeah.
Well, you know that. I also have
I need to put up a room at your house.
I should. I got my charcuterie board business that I'm doing on the side, and I'm still getting little gigs on that too. But I always wanted to make sourdough. So this friend of mine, her name is Allison Fraker. She and her husband Jason are absolute maniacs when it comes to real estate. They just do all kinds of wonderful, wonderful stuff. They will make it happen. Good, solid Christian folks. I've known them for probably 25 years. Love them to death, and they're like family. And she made me sourdough bread for my birthday last year. And I told her, I said, I really want you to teach me how to do this. So I went and took a class from her. It was just she and I and my wife. And she went through the whole thing and taught me how to make the loaves. And I've been having so much fun with it that I started making, it's kind of complicated, but you can't use your sourdough every day. If you do, you have to keep building it and feeding it, and it's a live growing thing. You even name it, Mine's Lazarus because it raises all the time. Anyway, there's a stuff called discard, and so I'm making dog treats now. Yesterday I made dog treats. You mix them with oats and flour and peanut butter and pureed pumpkin, and the dogs have gone crazy over them.
Bring me some of those. My dogs love them.
I made brownies the other day, and I didn't put any secret stuff in them at all, other than just the discard. They were phenomenal, but I'm doing these big round loaves of sourdough bread, and it's hot, and it's crunchy, and it's just
soft, and put butter on it, and it's just best stuff ever. Load it with prosciutto and ham and.
Okay, so it's funny that you should say that because she just texted me and finished this one, and that has got inside of it salami, pepperoncinis, and cheese, mozzarella cheese. Inside it's out. That's what I'm doing tomorrow. I'll do it all prep today, and then I'll bake it tomorrow, and I'll send you pictures.
On that note, I'm ready to go eat lunch. We've been doing this for 2 hours. It's been a great to catch up.
Don't get me started on food, bro.
I'm hungry now. So,
the next, you know what? The next, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but the next podcast we do, I'll bring stuff that I've cooked, and we'll do samples, and we'll talk about it in the process. And
all right. Salty. Love you, buddy. So thanks for coming out and hanging out. We will see you on the next trip.
Okay.
The next be probably next week, guys. We're
a week or two.
We talked about this. We were serious.
Yeah.
Getting it back going. So
yeah.
Yeah, we said that last time too, but it's been months. So
life got in the way.
Life got entropy. That's the word I was told today. Yeah. Entropy. Right. I had to write it down. It was a word. We'll talk about that next time too. Salty.
Smash the buttons.
I'm
subscribe. Do all the fun stuff.
Subscribe, like it, talk to it, whatever.
Send it to your friends.
More importantly, share it. Until next time.
All right, man.
Love you, buddy.
Good to see you.